Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my page, Scottish North American Heroes. My name is Cameron Murray. When the Scots went to North America, many people thought they wore kilts, but because of the repression after the Jacobite uprisings, kilts and tartan and other things, notably Scottish, were banned or prescribed. This, what you see before you, is a plaid. This is what the Scottish Highlanders of the 16th, 17th and into the early 18th centuries were wearing. The first plaids were actually written about in the 13th century up in Orkney, but this is the sort of plaid that a Scotsman might have worn during the day of, say, the 17th century. This particular tartan, incidentally, is it's a modern remake trying to mimic an old tartan, which is the ancient MacDonald of the Isles, and it's the hunting pattern. So I'm going to display how this was worn. This is the forerunner to the kilt. You would have worn this in the heather to use as a sleeping bag as well, which is why it's so big. You're looking at 4.5 metres, 5 metres of thick tartan material. I'm going to display how this in fact would have been worn. So the first thing I'm going to do is come across here to this side. You imagine it's first thing in the morning, which it is at the moment, and this is how a Scot, a Highlander, would have prepared his plaid. They would have started by pulling all of the middle into plaits, which is why you see the plaits in your kilt. You would keep doing this. This material, incidentally, is waterproof, and not through any modern treatment, but what people would have done at the time is the ladies would have walked the material. That's W-A-U-L-K. The reason for walking the material is so that you'd put it into the burn, trample on it constantly, and because you're trampling on it all the time, what happens is the fibres felt up, they become close together, and the wool with the lanolin in it develops quite a tough shield. So through most of the rainfall that would have experienced, excluding a real torrent, this would have kept you dry. So it's not something which is going to be terribly heavy. Now I'll just sort this edge a little, because it needs all to be fairly uniform, and that will do us nicely. You'll have noticed I've got a particular form of underwear on, just to protect modesty at this time. So I'm going to show this is how you would have dressed yourself in it. You would sit yourself back. The shoes I'm wearing, incidentally, are 18th century buckle shoes. Wearing a set of hose. These are necessary for going through brush, because of course with the Scottish thistles, with gorse and all sorts, you want to make sure you are not getting absolutely cut. And then sit yourself in like that, pull this across, just manoeuvre myself a little bit further. If you want it sitting just above the knee, that's because it's going to fall as soon as I stand up. You then take your belt, slip it underneath, belt underneath, and this belt purely holds the plaid in place. So that's that in place. I'll then reach across for my accoutrements belt, which contains my dirk and my sporran. I'll now put this one on. So I'll now just move myself again, put that underneath. You can have more things than a sporran on it, obviously, but this is just the way I personally prefer it. Right, so we're just about there. About we are there now. I'll just tighten that one up. I'll place the sporran in front, because that's where my money and so on is. Dirk to this side, and then I'm going to stand up. When we stand up, you notice it hangs about the waist. So what we're going to do, we're going to kid on, it's a lovely sunny day and it's nice and warm, and we just want to keep the plaid out of the way, so we're going to wear this kilt style. So I'll move that round my back, I make a double pleat, and I tuck it in like that. That's how you would wear it kilt style. You would then of course manoeuvre it about just to make sure that it's nice and comfortable. I need to move that bit a little bit further to make sure it's equalled up with the rest. And that's us. Now if you're meeting someone, you want to hide your dirk, or you've decided, or you're out on the heather, you might be a shepherd and you want to keep your flock nice and safe, what you may decide to do is have a bigger pocket. So you may have a big pocket like that, so you can put things in. It's nice and safe actually, and your dirk is fairly well hidden, so should you need to, you can just reach up and grab it out. Alternatively, there are other ways you can wear it, and in doing so I'm going to take the brooch pin that I've got in my sporran, and I'm going to just pull this together so that's up by my shoulder, because it might be rather cold. Then I may be pulling this from here, and I may put this together like this, pin both sides together, wait for that to go through. It's quite tough material. Then you would hold this on nicely, like that. So that's us held together there. So I've got another big pocket here, I've got a pocket here as well. Then to kind of top things off, you would have your bonnet. Most Scots wear a blue bonnet. This is a green colour, purely because what I'm wearing represents the Isles. Then you've got your buckler with your sword, and you're ready for whatever the day might bring. And that's how a Scotsman of the 16th, 17th and 18th century may in fact would have dressed himself. Hope you found that interesting. I'm way to find breakfast.